Hey everyone, Lisa here from Happy Zazzling. I'm along the way through this YouTube channel and my Happy Zazzling Facebook group. I've met some really amazing people, and one of these people is Kate Thompson. So, to introduce Kate, and she runs a course. I don't know what to call it. Like, you have a lot of things. You have field notes, tips, a course. Um, I was trying to think of like what to call the whole thing that you do. But I just want to introduce you. So I met Kate through my YouTube channel, Happy Zazzling, and then she joined the Facebook group Happy Zazzling, and I've seen you on some of the other, Zazzle groups and stuff. And always thought you were nice and kind, and we had talked, and you had helped me with some situations. And then randomly, casually, I found out that you have this awesome newsletter, or what you call field notes, that I didn't even know about this whole time. So I kind of pushed Kate, like, come on, we got to get this out to the world. So do you want to explain what you do with your field
Sure.
notes?
My brand is Temperance Meadows, and that actually started as a KDP brand, and I branched out after that into other things and moved on and did Etsy, and then decided to go ahead and use that same brand since it was already established to do my Zazzle toolkits and then also Zazzle Unleashed. So then I released my first toolkit, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit, but I
Mm-hmm.
released that just back in April. And when I released it, I knew I needed to have sort of a monthly newsletter to go with it. And I didn't want to be, and I don't want to be one of those people who sends like daily or weekly emails because I just get so quickly overwhelmed myself with my inbox. So I said I'm going to give it a once a month, and I'm going to send it out, and it's just going to have information about what's going on with at Zazzle, if there's anything, what's going on as far as trends coming up, things we need to think about, and then just ideas or tips about what to design on Zazzle, and then I wanted to add value by putting in a little freebie or some sort of resource with everyone. So I started doing it, and I started realizing the newsletters were getting kind of long. And again, for myself, when I open a newsletter, if it looks too long, I tend to go save it and come back to read later, but then sometimes I forget. So I decided, I'm going to switch the whole model of this to be online. So that's why I switched. That's when I switched the name to Field Notes because it was more in line with what I was doing. It was just my observations about what's going on and what's trending and where people can go. And so now, it actually originally started in August, but officially probably beginning September is when people will just start getting an email from me once a month that says, hey, there's a new field notes, click here if you want to read it. And then they can go and read it at their leisure. They don't have to worry about saving an email, coming back to it, scrolling through it. And it's open to everybody, and you can subscribe to get an email telling you, hey, there's a new field notes, but you can also just bookmark it and go back and check it whenever you want and look at it too. I wanted it to be something everybody had access to, wide open.
It's very nicely done. I get overwhelmed too with reading so much stuff, and I clicked on it, and like I read from top to bottom. It was just so interesting, and it was nice to see like the free tips and all that stuff along with niche. There was just so much in it. It was just really pretty and really nicely done. Really easy to follow.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That helps me because I sometimes I do like you. I do a lot of this stuff for myself or for one or two people who have asked me information, and then I wonder how does the rest of the world see it? So it's
Right.
helpful. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is nice because, like you said, once you get experience in something, you kind of want to start helping others that are learning. And it's like, how do I get this information out to people? And you do it it's the whole format is just really nice. I like it. And
Thank
even
you.
temperance fields and field notes, like it's just also so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, that actually helped too. I was like, what can keep in the same with the meadow theme and kind
Right.
of keep it all together. And I made a little rabbit to go with it, a little rabbit on the computer. Oh.
Yeah. So do you want to explain what's like inside the field notes a little bit?
So the general thing that goes in the field notes are observational notes about observational notes about things having to do with Zazzle in general. So if there's specifically something coming up that we should be designing for, a couple months down the road, getting prepped. If there's any insight into a trend that's coming up that you might be able to apply into Zazzle, um, a particular resource that I think might be helpful. Just generally kind of looking around at the Zazzle, but also print on demand field in general, but Zazzle
Hmm.
specifically, and saying what do I see happening that I feel like other people would benefit from
Right.
knowing, you know. So
Yeah, that's so nice because you know, we're all each in our own little worlds, and I'll look around and I'll see what my kids or my grandkids are into, you know, is it unicorns, axolotls, whatever. But it's nice to when you can like look at somebody else's opinions and see what they're experiencing, you know, and what's,
absolutely.
yeah, trending
Yeah,
like in
because
their
I don't have
shops.
grandkids, right? So I'm not looking at the grandkids niche, but I want to observe those things for people who are, and I can look out and say, oh hey, I noticed grandparents' day is coming up, right? So go find your grandparents product or your grandparent products to promote, and if you don't have any, make some. You might not get them in this year, but you'll have them in your store for next year, and push that way. So yes, that's all designed to help each other, right? We all work together to lift each other up.
Absolutely. I love this community. It's been really fun working with like you and Jim from Snuggle Hamsters and we and like just so many people are have lately been coming together to just help each other out and you know try to boost each other up. I love the artist community, you know, for that because anybody who creates, whether you're writing or drawing or photography or whatever it is you do, you know, it's
Yeah.
like when you it's such a giving community and we all just want to support each other and boost each other up.
Yeah, absolutely. People ask me several times why for my course, why is it so low? Why is the price so low? And I always say it's to cover my own expenses is really all I needed to do. I don't need to make $1 million and be the next, Zazzle guru. I want to help people and I want it to be accessible. I know when I started off on Zazzle, I was like, oh gosh, I can't spend $100 on a course. I'm not even making $5 at Zazzle.
Right. Plus now with the cover photos and mock-up videos and all that stuff, you have to pay for extra programs, you know, to do
Yeah.
AI, to make videos, to make cover photos. So now there used to not be expenses with Zazzle other than having internet, and now there's like a lot of expenses with it. Your course is so extremely low priced. My friend wrote me and said, "Is this right? Am I reading this right?" And I'm like, yep, you are. That's really, really cheap. Before we get into the class, though, I also want to bring up the toolkits that you put together, toolkits that people can buy, again, for a super low price. Do you want to explain a little bit about those?
So right now there's one, the OG toolkit that I created, and it's sort of a general purpose toolkit. It has lots of different niches in it. But the reason I made those was similar to the reason I made the course, was that I found myself having to repeat the same process. And one of the big issues I was having was, where do I find good commercial use graphics that have an easy to understand license? Because I have Creative Fabrica and I go to Creative Market, but you get those and you go to use them on Zazzle and you instantly start to wonder, am I allowed to do this? Do I have to
Right.
flatten this? Do I need to lock this in? I I got tired of it. I didn't want to do it, and then of course Midjourney came along, and I learned how to do that, and I already knew how to use Photoshop and Illustrator, so I was able to sort of combine those things and
Hmm.
create some products that were unique. And I said, I want people who buy these, I want them to know that they can use them freely, other than selling them as is as their own products.
Right.
That's the only thing you can't do. But otherwise, yeah, you want to put it on a sticker, great. You want to print it for yourself, great. You want to turn it into something else and sell it, that's fantastic too, because we all rise together. And then I also realized that I personally spent a lot of time doing research, niche and trend research. And I thought, this takes a lot of time. And if it takes me a lot of time to do it, I know it takes other people a lot of time. And I just don't want people to sit down in front of their computer to do Zazzle and say, what do I do? What am I going to do next?
Right.
What do I design? I want them to say, okay, I've got this list of trends I could look at or niches I could design for, or I've got graphics that I could grab right away that I know I can use. And then the original toolkit also contains branding assets for your store, cover, banner images and Canva templates to use for those things, for banner
Oh,
images
that's
and
nice.
cover
Yeah.
images. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that same thing because I thought if people are just starting out at Zazzle, they need to be able to stand out as a brand as well. So that's the original toolkit, and then I have another one coming up in releasing in September that is the Christmas Designers
Oh,
Toolkit.
I can't wait to
So
see
it
that
will
one. Yeah.
have Christmas trends and niches, holidays in general, not just Christmas, but the winter holidays, graphics and stuff designed for that. And then that one will also have Canva templates, but they'll be designed for creating cover images and mock-ups and things
Oh, nice.
faster. So yeah, so
Nice.
that's coming up.
I love
And
what
then
you said about that it's free to use, not free to just
yeah,
sell outright, but free to
right,
use because I'm finding like every site I go to, I use Kittle and Canva, and I'll create a Fabrica, but each one kind of has their own rules, and so it's like you can't refresh what you know every single time you go on anything. So it's nice that
yeah,
you're like, here, you can use these, and people just know it's okay to use them on whatever they're
yeah.
making.
Yep. And I will say, to this point, it's a pretty exclusive club because originally I thought, well, I'll just take these same graphics and I'll go ahead and post them in my Etsy store as well and sell them. But I just haven't gotten around to it. So right
Yeah.
now, if you have one of those designers toolkits, you have a pretty exclusive set of graphics in there that aren't really readily available to a lot of people. Because they're not for sale. I think maybe there's one asset for sale somewhere else. So, aw,
Sorry
cute.
about that.
Um, I also remembered that the other thing that's included in the toolkit is stock photos to put in for your placeholders, because that was another one I was having problems with. Was, do I have a license release or a model release to use this photo as a placeholder? So I have a bunch of those.
Here.
That's great.
But yeah, okay. And so, do you want to tell people about the classes you have?
Right. So then the course, similar to sort of what you did with Happy Zazzling, is people kept asking me questions about Zazzle, and I kept finding myself repeating the same thing over and over, and giving the same tips over and over. And then at the same time, I was part. Oh, he's so cute. At the same time, I was part of a membership learning how to create courses, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to create a course. I'll use Zazzle, sort of a beginner Zazzle guide to create a course, and that's kind of how it happened. I didn't want it to be super formal with a lot of slides, and I really wanted it to just be sort of scrappy. Here, it's the two of us at the kitchen table, and I'm sitting next to you, helping you set things up, because I work better that way. And
Me too. Like
you
what
know,
we're doing right now. I'd rather have casual than
exactly.
formal. And I binged your course in 2 days, and I loved it. You said the class was good for beginners, but I found it would probably be good for everybody. Um, because I learned so much stuff. I learned about the anchor button. I learned you explained the collection categories really good. You know where I'm talking about, where it says cross sell and all that.
Oh
Oh my god, it drives me crazy. I've written in the forum so many times. Somebody explain these to me because I don't understand the difference between. I mean, some are obvious, like the cross sell, but
yeah,
then you get gift and similar design. I'm like, what are the differences in these? And you went over all of those, and that was really nice.
excellent. Oh, I'm glad that it helped you. It's funny. I've gotten a lot of feedback on the course. It's all been positive feedback, and it's been fun to see how many people that have been doing Zazzle for a long time say, "Oh, I took the course and it helped me a lot." Like you said, I learned some things I didn't realize, or I refreshed some ideas in my mind that I had kind of forgotten. Oh,
Yeah.
about and so I very that actually makes me really happy to hear, because I designed the course for beginners, but I wanted it to also be available as a refresher, and it it's really helping a lot more people than I originally thought I would be able to help. So
Oh,
yay!
good. So I know
Happy.
you just did it. Like you just released the course last week, and
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm
yeah,
glad you're getting some good feedback. I do believe
yeah,
it will be helpful for people, and the fact that it's not like $100 or something is like so very
yeah,
helpful too.
yeah. And there's no monthly membership or recurring fees or anything like that. It's just one time, and then you just have access to it. And I've asked people, let me know if there's something you wish I had put in there, if there's something that didn't quite make sense. And I've actually gone in already and made a couple of little tweaks to text boxes and stuff to make things a little bit more clear. But it's sort of a living organism. So as I learn other things and feel like I need to go back and add in there, I definitely will. But I do actually have plans to create additional sort of standalone tutorial type of things. I don't know if I will market them or just do them on YouTube. I'm not real sure yet, but about just design principles and Again, more with collections. Good grief, I could make a whole course just on collections.
Yeah, we need courses on just the
Right?
collections. They've gotten so
Uh,
confusing. Like even for
right?
us old veterans on Zazzle, it's like it. God, it's just a
Yeah.
never ending. And then you think you got it, and something changes again, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
So, but I just really want to encourage people to get in there and do it. Just get
yeah,
in there and do it, and don't give up when the going gets a little bit rough and
right,
slows down. It is a long game. It's a marathon. Even though we use the horse racing metaphor in the course, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It does take a while to get everything established. But then once you do, you can have access to that consistent passive income, and it's. I think everybody should do it. I really do.
yeah. I think so too. Zazzle's really fun. I find it like really relaxing and stuff, and
Yes,
I love
it's
to just sit
fun.
down and start creating. And if you're somebody who does do art or AI or is a photographer or even a writer, it's like
Yeah.
you can have so much fun doing Zazzle. It can be so relaxing. And yeah, one thing I also noticed about your course I liked is that you're very positive. I tend to be more of a negative Nelly, and sometimes I have to rein myself back in and remind myself, you love Zazzle. Stop complaining because you love doing it. But like I'll get hung up on something that bothers me, and and I know you're like the opposite. Like you're like, hang in there, stay tough. You can work through this, and you'll get
Well,
there.
it's
It's
funny.
a slow. It's the turtle wins the race kind of a deal.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm preaching to myself when I do those things because I know for me one of the biggest struggles is mindset. And just knowing, like you said, hey, this is fun and I enjoy it, and I know this process works because I'm proof that it works and I've seen it work in others, and so when I start to get frustrated if Zazzle does something weird or they change something and I don't quite understand what they're doing, or my product suddenly stops showing up where they're supposed to or something, I remind myself to stick to it. Blinders on, head in the game, just stay in the course and keep doing it. But yeah, I'm telling those things to myself all the time because I do tend to be sort of a glass half empty kind of person, and I want to recognize that you see the things that you look for. So if you're only ever looking for the negative, that's all you're ever going to see. But
Right,
if you start looking at those things, right, you didn't make as much money as you made last month, but you made money,
right,
and there are some things you can do to make some changes and control what you can control. So yeah,
right.
that's one thing I want to make sure that I present to people in general, and because I mean, I'm not happy all the time and peppy all the time, and I get down about Zazzle myself too. So I'm normal in that sense,
Mhm.
but I want everybody to see that it is possible to recognize where things are going wrong, but also recognize where things are going right and focus on those things that you can control and do better at. So,
Right, right.
yeah.
So is
And
there?
always be kind.
Yes, always be kind. That's like a
Yeah.
big thing, and
Yes.
it's hard. You have to build up your patience and stuff. But yes, always be kind because
Yeah.
you don't know what somebody else is going through either. And
You just don't.
yeah,
You don't know, and there's so many personality types in the world, and
yes,
people don't communicate the same way. Sometimes I've had a couple people ask me questions about the course, and they're very blunt in the way they ask the question. And if you want to read it negatively, you can. You
right,
can read the question as sort of an accusation rather than a question. And so I
yeah,
think it helps if we approach it more with, assuming goodwill and assuming kindness about people, and you know, it, the truth will out if they're not a kind person in the end. But I think ultimately we just have to say, not everybody's like me. So
right.
how can I be the best me and help you be the best you at the same time?
And it's always good to set an example of kindness because some people just aren't in this world, but that doesn't mean we don't have to be.
Exactly.
And like we talked about, we were talking about this yesterday, and I've heard you say this before, and I've said it too, is that there's a lot of different ways to the top, whatever your top is.
Yes. Whatever
And
your
it's
top is.
yeah, whatever your top is, there's different ways to get there, and some might learn from your class, some might learn from my videos, some might go online and find other YouTubers that are that they can relate to, my or Juna, or there's so many people out there helping. And like I'll just put on YouTube and say, put Zazzle videos on and just let them play all day, like all the Zazzle tutorials, and I feel like I learn a little bit from each one. So there's, it's good to just, check everybody out and take
It
from it what you can. And if you don't like it, then just leave it alone. You don't
is.
have to, nobody's forcing you to do anything. Just learn what you learn. And, because I know you wish everybody luck. I wish everybody luck. And I just want everybody to be successful. And there's enough
Right.
room for all of us to be successful. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is, and what you said about, your individual your individual goal, it's the same. I want you to be successful, whatever that definition of successful is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it $1 million? Is it helping other people? Is it just having enough money to take a vacation? Is it just having a fun hobby? Whatever
Right.
successful is for you. That's why in the course we don't talk about financial goals, right? We just talk about commitment goals and just deciding what success looks like for you, because I don't want people to think I'm coming in as the competition to be the big friend who's going to come in and teach you how to make those 5 and 10K months. And that's not what I'm about. It's not what you're about. We're about
Right.
being real and helping everybody and helping each other and being successful together, whatever
Yeah.
successful is, right?
Yeah. When I figure out how to make that 10K a month, I'll be sure to let
Right?
everybody know.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
Right. Right. But
If
yeah,
I
like you
figure it out,
said,
I'll tell you.
we all have different goals with it. And, it is a fun hobby and
Yeah.
everything. And all of us can use more money. So it's great when that happens. And,
Yeah.
all we can do is when we do figure things out, we share them. And, you know,
Yeah.
that's all we can do.
Just let it take care of itself on the
Yeah.
other side. Yeah.
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 I'm really looking forward to your Christmas toolkit coming out.
I'm very excited about it. I've been working on it diligently, and I'm very excited.
Okay. Well, I want people to know that down in the description, I'm going to put a link to your newsletter, field notes, to your toolkits, and to your classes.
Thank
And
you.
I hope that they'll go check it out. And make sure you guys check it out because her field notes are free, and she gives a lot of tips in there. And you
And
know,
free stuff.
yeah, lots of free stuff. So go check it out, no matter what, and then you can decide, if you want to go any further or not. But it's definitely worth it.
Thank you. Yeah, it would be great to have people just join in, and when you sign up to get reminders about the field notes, you can also email me, and I think my link is probably on the field notes too. Email me and say, hey, I have a question about this. Can you put something in the newsletter about this or answer this question? Happy to do it. Always looking for stuff to talk about. You are too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and people send me questions all the time. I know you offered that too. Saying, like somebody asked me last week, can you do a video on bookmarks or and so it helps us. When we get feedback, then we know what you guys are looking for and everything. So then we
Yes.
can add that to the next video or newsletter or whatever it is that we're doing. But anyway, Kate, I want to thank you for coming on here. And also, did you want to talk about your shop at all, your Zazzle store, or?
Well, if the people are welcome to come and take a look, I have Cedar and String. That's my main store. Then I have Kate's Creations and a couple other smaller ones that I put sort of fun stuff up in. But people are always welcome to go peep my store and look at my stuff. Obviously, we never want to copy each other, in that sense.
Yes.
But if you see something that's trending in my store and you want to put your twist on it and go make $1 million or whatever you want to make,
Right. And I do want to
go
add
ahead.
that in this video, that we are asking people to, when we're teaching somebody, it's to give you an idea of how to make something, but you do have to put your own spin on it. You have to use your own art, make it your own. Like, we're not saying, oh, look at this Christmas ornament, this is how you do it, now make the same exact one.
You don't want to have competing products that look exactly the same. And you see two identical products. If you've just copied my product and they're identical, the customer gets confused by that. They don't know which one to click. Neither one of us has an opportunity to get a sale out of that, really. But
Right.
if our products are, say we both use greenery, right? But you use it in a different way than I use it, even if it's the same graphic. We bought the same graphic, but you've got it turned one direction backwards, and I've got it turned another direction this way, and our text fonts are different. There's some similarity, but one is going to pop to a customer more than another, and we
Right.
both have a better chance of getting a sale on that than we do if we have an identical product. So it's a misunderstanding for people to think this is a successful product. I'm going to make my version identical to it, and I'll be successful. No, what it'll do is drag us both down. So
Yes.
neither one of us will benefit from that. So make yours, use the concepts that you see, but put your own spin on it, make it pop, make it different, and you'll get actually better results from doing that than you will from just straight up copying.
Right. Right. Very true. Is there anything else that I missed that you might want to talk
I don't
about?
think so. This has been a fun conversation. You asked all the great questions, and I enjoyed just hanging out and talking. You know me. I could talk about Zazzle all day long.
I know, me too. It's like a little addiction. Some people, whatever it is that they do, mine is like definitely Zazzle.
Yeah. People ask me, "Can I ask you a question about Zazzle?" And I always say, "Well, you can ask me a question, but keep in mind, I can't shut up about it. So at some point, you're going to have to be the one who says, okay, thank you. I've had enough."
Yeah, no, but you know
Yeah.
what? It's helpful to people. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing and doing everything you're doing to help other Zazzlers. It's an awesome thing.
Thank you. And thank you for having me, and thank you for making your amazing YouTube channel because it is so helpful to people. It is so relaxing. And I honestly just thank you for putting yourself out there. I know there's been some times where you've thought about maybe not doing it, but I'm glad for selfishly for my own sake. I'm glad that you still do it.
No, well, thank you, Kate. I really appreciate it. And I'll put all your links down in the description below. And I hope lots of
Terrific.
people check you out.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Happy
All
Zazzling.
right. Bye.
Bye. Okay.